thank you everyone for coming. And what I would like to do is give my presentation so that I don't stand between you and the food too long. And then we can always take questions while you're eating. If you have questions, just raise your hand after we're done, okay? I appreciate it. Thank you. So I work at North Shore University down in Lincolnwood, McCormick, and Pratt. And I've been practicing there since fall of 2017. And I got a certificate in plant-based nutrition from T. Colin Campbell Institute. So ever since then, I've been promoting plant-based diet scientifically to my patients, no matter what, even if it's a simple cold. I see people of all ages, whether someone's a child or adult. So I always try to incorporate a little bit, and everyone has different receptivity. So at the very least, the advice can be eat more fruits and veggies, or it can be more extensive depending on the person's receptivity. So everyone has different points. So today we're going to talk about the microbiome. The idea all disease begins in the gut began thousands of years ago. And back then we didn't have a germ theory, we didn't have science of microbiome, but people made connections, especially Hippocrates. That was attributed to him. All disease begins in the gut. Now, we're just discovering the microbiome. The latest researchers at University of Chicago researched this, and guess what? Today, all disease begins in the gut again. So good ideas circle around sometimes. So originally I titled this Probiotics for Gut Health as kind of a play on that. And midway through this talk, someone asked, aren't you going to talk about probiotics? I said, no, actually I'm not. So that's going to be, you can look for that in this talk, that nothing over the counter will help you as much as what's on your plate. So this is not individual advice. We're giving this for educational purposes. I'm not representing my employer. Always check with your doctor, and I don't have any conflict of interest and no commercial interest. We're going to learn generally how to improve your digestion, balance your intestinal microbiome, and we'll keep your second brain in optimal health. And we'll discuss how to make probiotics at home. So, again, no amount of vitamins or supplements can take the place of a healthy diet. So in the end, it is like you're cultivating the substrate for your microbes. And we'll talk about what relatively, when you take a probiotic, what that means in terms of the numbers. So our gut microbes number 10 times the number of cells in your body. So you're actually more microbe than human in a way. So when you use the word we, you're actually correct. It's like the royal we. So this microbiome helps protect us from inflammation. It supports metabolism. They find in mice you can make an obese mouse skinny and a skinny mouse obese by switching the microbiome, which is amazing. We have basically 3/4 of our immune system is in our gut. And most of the serotonin hormone, which is the happy hormone, is located in your gut. So when someone says they have a gut feeling, it's actually true. And this is involved in many diseases, including diabetes, metabolism, digestive illness, autoimmune disease, heart disease, kidney disease, and we'll go over that. So the model of this in this photo is leaky gut syndrome, which you may have heard of. And some people say, well, that's a false diagnosis. It actually is not. The latest research supports this. Originally, it was thought to be false, but now it's proven to be true. So these are our intestinal cells with the little fingers projecting out that absorb and digest. What happens is the normal junctions that are between these cells become loose and damaged, and that creates chronic inflammation. So it breaches that barrier and proteins go through whole. So think about animal proteins, for example. When you already have leaky gut that is damaged, those animal proteins go through intact, not broken down. And because we are human, animals are beings as well. There's a reason for not eating beings is that those proteins are too similar to our own. So for example, I have a patient who is butchered. when the butcher eats something or works with knuckles, his knuckles get inflamed from autoimmune disease. So we used to have a name for that way back thousands of years ago. We called it karma. Now that is not victim blaming, it is basically the truth. We just have a scientific mechanism to explain it now, which is amazing. So as you can see, inflammation can be linked to the gut, and it basically creates this chronic systemic inflammation. So rheumatoid arthritis is not just rheumatoid arthritis, it's throughout the body from head to toe. Inflammation is the defense mechanism that goes awry, like we talked about. So causes of gut dysfunction, poor diet. This is the standard American diet today. As you can see, more than 50% processed. The plant foods, half of it is ketchup and fries. Nothing wrong with potatoes, but not French fries. And ketchup is basically syrup flavored like tomato. Too many medications, NSAIDs like Advil and Aleve, break down the gut barrier. Many of antibiotics break down the gut barrier. Chronic stress has a linkage. You have a direct connection between your gut and your brain. Toxic chemicals, all the pesticides that are in your food, the plastics that we eat. Alcohol is a sterilization agent. The right dose of alcohol for the gut is 0. Remember that. C-section birth and not breastfeeding. Again, this is not blaming. This is just observing that overdoing C-section is linked to poor microbiome in the baby. Not doing breastfeeding, poor microbiome in the baby. Interestingly, in a community of vegans called The Farm, where Dr. Will Tuttle resided, almost no incidence of preeclampsia, very rare cesarean birth, and very few complications, and most of them breastfeeding. So we have an enteric nervous system in our body. The gut has a brain itself. The vagus nerve connects the two, and basically malfunctions can be modulated by the nervous system, including sympathetic or parasympathetic, which is fight or flight or relaxation. So how do you stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system? Is by relaxation, stress relief, yoga, those kind of things. So probiotics are useful in some rare cases. These are just a few. For example, Biogaia gastris I have recommended for acid reflux. Saccharomyces, prevention of traveler's diarrhea. When my children went to India, they took Saccharomyces. They came back with no traveler's diarrhea, which is usual. Spore-based probiotics for autoimmune leaky gut syndrome. VSL3 is a specific one that's medically prescribed. But in the end, in most cases, the typical ones that you buy, many of them are inactive. Taking a probiotic is like using an eyedropper to fill a bathtub. We looked at the staggering numbers of bacteria in the microbiome. Most of them don't make any difference. So this is nature's probiotic, fermented foods. Anyone has made sauerkraut at home? So yeah, if you made sauerkraut at home, you can tell what wonderful smell comes of that, that vinegary smell. You can see the bubbles form. That's live food. That's fermented food. So fermented food was much more common back in the olden times before refrigeration. We even have a children's poem about it. That's peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, right? When it's 5 days old, it's fermented. So, and that fermented peas porridge is very similar to natto, which is a Japanese fermented soybean. So these are all the different kinds of kraut you can make. Pickles, olives, you can make carrot kraut, miso, tempeh, natto, kombucha. Anyone make kombucha at home? A little bit of kombucha goes a long way. So many people can't stand the flavor. So medicinally, I say use maybe 1 or 2 ounce kombucha, put a bunch of water, and maybe you add a squeeze of lime. It's not so bad that way. So this is a basic recipe just to show an example, but you can go on YouTube and read it. So carrot kraut, cabbage, carrots, sea salt. You cannot have salt with iodine because that's antiseptic. So you shred everything together, mix it with your hands, mix it with the salt, and then you cover it in a jar. You cover it You may have a weight to hold everything down below the liquid, and then you wait about 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the temperature outside and the weather. Then you move it to the fridge and cover with a lid tightly. So this is what the finished product looks like. It's pretty amazing. And you would just have as a relish, like a couple of teaspoons with your meals. And many cultures, like Polish, they would have, Nick told me they have huge jars of this in some Polish delis. So, another thing is gluten intolerance is much more common than we think it is. So in my practice, I see a lot of people with non-celiac gluten intolerance. And, the right way to do it is to try elimination. Why that is, it could be the modern varieties of wheat, it could be the overprocessing of the wheat, it could be the pesticides that are sprayed on the wheat. We don't know, but we know for sure that this is much more common today. And that leaky gut syndrome that we talked about, that is the result of non-celiac gluten intolerance. So for example, someone with Hashimoto's thyroid disease is much more likely to have this than the general population. So if someone has it, there are many whole grains to use. The good thing about this South Indian meal is many of the foods are gluten-free. So idli and dosa are automatically gluten-free. And if you want to know more ideas, there's actually a Facebook group called WFPBNO Desi, which you can join and get great ideas. These are local folks. So as far as the vegan gut profile, recently we have research showing how the vegan microbiome is actually different. In fact, if someone needs a gut transplant, they should get it from a vegan. They should get the bacteria out of there. So I had this joke of an idea that vegans would get together, draw their blood, and sell it for 8,000 bucks per bag. So you might as well make some money to fund the farm sanctuaries. So similarly, we could also sell, there are people that are having fecal transplants as well. Sorry. So the amazing thing is that this is a journal article that is showing that the vegan microbiome is helpful for heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and autoimmune disease. So as far as summary, what to eat for the gut, which is everyone, is whole food, unrefined plants in abundance, fruits, veggies, whole grains, lentils and beans, nuts and seeds, especially flax seeds, for extra gut health. Minimize or eliminate intake of dairy, meat, cheese, eggs, sugary foods, oils, and processed grains. You can get ideas from 21daykickstart.org, from PCRM, PCRM.org, and then I would add to this PBNM.org, Plant-Based Nutrition Movement. In fact, if you want to learn more, the last Saturday of the month they have a 5K run walk scheduled. I would encourage everyone, if you can, if you're in the area, it's in Elk Grove, you can consider it. And water is the best way to go, and natural beverages, because that caramel color and the sugar substitutes are toxic to the gut as well. So is alcohol. Now there is a tiny bit of alcohol in kombucha. It's negligible as long as you're not drinking too much of it. So this is the foods, vegetable. The foods are beautiful to the human eye for a reason. We are trained, and our eyes evolved through hundreds of thousands of years to see brilliant colors, to literally pick the low-hanging fruit, whereas carnivore animals are not. So these are the foods, vegetables, fruits, these are beautiful colors. Whole intact grains are preferred. For the gut biome, whole intact grains are preferred over flour, if possible. Beans, peas, and lentils, legumes, nuts and seeds. So this is an example of wheat. So modern wheat is fractionated so that you're getting the end product, which is white flour at the end, but these are all the things that are taken out of it to get to that wheat. So the other thing with lifestyle, avoid chemicals on your body or in your body. Look at the ingredients on your personal care products, and you can see many of them are antiseptic, antibiotic. Get rid of the hand sanitizer immediately. Just throw it out. You don't need it. No one needs it. Get rid of the alcohol mouthwash, and many mouthwashes have antiseptic. That is not good for the microbiome. Use water pick. That's just water jet to clean your teeth. Consider herbal toothpaste. Manage your stress because we showed the brain and gut connection. Definitely get enough sleep. Your digestive system needs a reset overnight. Many people don't. They'll eat at night or they'll eat late and get up early and eat. Your gut needs generally 10 to 12 hours of rest overnight to heal. Exercise also balances nervous system, helps digestion. Yoga actually twists the gut into various postures to help digestion and to eliminate gas. So this is a connection between heart and gut. Cardiologists can now study gut health because TMAO is the chemical researched at Cleveland Clinic as a factor in heart disease, kidney disease, and vascular disease. So they found the animal products metabolize and are formed into toxic substances by the liver, by the gut passing to the liver. So those found to have higher TMAO have fourfold risk of dying than others over the subsequent 5 years. So just not to study, but to show you there is a pathway, everything is connected. So I have heard it said that in integrative medicine, there is no need for specialties. Specialties, what they do, they break every part of the body into different regions and they study that part. Not to say specialists don't have a role, but we also need to integrate. So I do see patients who many times are seeing 3 different specialists, but no one's integrating everything. So again, these are a couple of resources. And this presentation is on slideshare.net under my name. The slides are there. If there's any questions, feel free to contact me, via LinkedIn or Twitter, or you can email me agarg@northshore.org. And then this is a brand new journal showing that plant-based science has come of age because we have a journal dedicated for medical professionals and for the public. Believe it or not, they actually have a magazine for the public that explains each and every scientific article in plain language for everyone to read. It's free to publish, it's free to download, which is amazing. No other journal will do that. So these are the topics in the first ever journal of the disease reversal and prevention. Guess who is talking about oil? That's Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Psoriasis, lupus, obesity, type 1 diabetes, non-Hodgkin's, lymphoma, heart disease, and myasthenia gravis. So that's all I have for the presentation. Thank you.